FearScape Media Network, exploring the unknown, one podcast at a time.
Support for FearScape Paranormal Podcast is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels.
Yeah, man. I used to use a regular beard trimmer for taking care of business down below.
Oh, dude, I just gave up on it.
Yeah, well, after you nick yourself a couple of times, and I'm really sensitive about that area because I really don't know what's going to happen if I cut into something that is a pump full of blood. You know what I'm saying?
Well, dude, I'm super excited that we were some of the first people to get to try the Lawnmower 4.0. In fact, Josh, using it right now.
Oh, why'd you have to leave the video on? Come on, dude.
Smooth as eggs. Seriously, though, man, I love this. I have really, really sensitive skin. So getting to have advanced skin-safe technology on this thing, I now feel confidence shaving not only my face, but below the waist. Right. And now you don't even have to bust out your cell phone flashlight because it has a light on the front of it to hit those dark areas. Makes all the difference in the world. So I'm just telling you guys right now, our listeners, if you guys are shaving your face and body with the same trimmer, you are doing it wrong.
So if you want to pick up your own Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer or any of the other great products that are offered by Manscaped, like these amazing boxer briefs that they sent us.
So comfortable.
Head on over to manscaped.com and use promo code FearScape and get 20% off and free shipping. Again, 20% off, free shipping, manscaped.com, promo code FearScape. Unlock your confidence now.
Smooth as eggs.
Thank you for tuning in to FearScape Paranormal Podcast. We are on a journey to understand and to discover the phenomena that seems to exist all around the globe. We invite you to join us on this journey into the unknown.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a wild and weird episode of FearScape Paranormal Podcast here on the FearScape Media Network. I am joined by my co-host, who is not just wild, who is not just weird, but he is both wild and weird, Josh Rutledge. How are you tonight, sir?
I am doing fantastic.
Well, that's not, that's nice.
Yeah, it is nice.
It's just wonderful.
Oh, bless his heart.
Oh, bless his heart. Oh, bless
his
heart. So I watched.
Which is a put down, right? So
yeah. So I watched the new Aretha Franklin docu movie last night. I really liked it. It was called Respect. It's got Jennifer Hudson playing Aretha, which perfect casting. I mean, she's phenomenal in this. And afterwards, so I think I've mentioned it before. My brother's a jazz singer, and he knows a lot of Detroit jazz folks because we grew up in Toledo and Detroit. And one of his really, really good friends used to be a drummer in Aretha Franklin's band for 4 or 5 years. I mean, he was with her, and he always talked about how she took no shit, which in the movie you see why. They really talk about how she became the woman that she became. But the thing was, as he said, she had an interesting way of firing folks. She would always bring in homemade biscuits, and they were the best biscuits you've ever had in your entire life. But you knew if she brought in biscuits, someone was getting fired.
Huh.
Every single time. It's like
interesting.
You knew you were getting fired. So Josh, if you'll see behind you, there's a plate of biscuits. No, just joking.
See, my cue for somebody was getting fired was I would be called into an office and asked to go down to the mailroom and get a box.
Oh, that's awful. Oh, that's awful. The worst is that they make you come in. Like, that's, it's like, just call me. Just say, hey, your stuff's in the mailroom.
Do you know the best day to fire people on?
Friday.
Thursday.
Why Thursday?
It just, I don't know. They did a study and they said the Thursday is the best day. If you do it on a Friday, they go home and they stew all weekend and they come back on Monday and cause a scene. Oh, well, if you do it on a Thursday, then for somehow that extra weekday helps.
Oh, yeah. I always heard it was Friday because they had the weekend to calm down. That's what I've always heard. But anyways, so if you guys listened last week to the show that we shared a whole bunch, was Josh and I getting to be on Wild and Weird Radio with the Wild and Weird West Virginia guys, which we love. Thank you guys so much. Well, we've got them on our show this week for part 2 of the mega crossover. We've got Joe Perdue, Ron Lanham, and Wayne Barnes. All 3 of them. We're going to be talking some stuff, talking wild, talking weird, all that jazz. So, make sure you stick around for that. So, but want to get into our topics of the week as usual, our little segments here. So let's get into Psychic Word of the Week to kick things off.
And now, the Psychic Word of the Week.
Psychic Word of the Week comes from the Encyclopedic Psychic Dictionary from June G. Bletzer, PhD. Rest in peace, Honey Bear. We absolutely love you. We miss you, which is strange because we don't know you,
But do we? I feel like we know her now.
I do. It's interesting because this is a reference book. It's not like a book, but like I see the way that she writes, the way that she formulates words and puts things together, and it does make you feel like she's someone that that you could have known, so to speak. I feel
like you're Dr. Bashir falling in love with the doctor you've recreated on the hologram on the holodeck, only to find out that she's really not like that, or she's married or something.
Right. Exactly. But anyways, I flipped through the pages, landed on page 633 for those of you keeping count. And I looked down and the phrase that I saw was time bender. And this is interesting. I wish Santosh was here because wait till you hear what this says, because we know Santosh, he does his show and his meditation classes, things like it's called Psychic Sleep. Right. And so here it says, time bender, definition 1, dreams, psychic experience during sleep.
Interesting.
Dun, dun, dun. It continues on. Psychic experience during sleep that shows the dreamer a past life scene or a future life scene can be distinguished from a dream because the scene shows authentic scenery and dress code and is easy to recall. Number 2, any psychic experience that goes forwards or backward in time. So, interesting. So a psychic dream, you were time bending.
So interesting also that we already talked about this. We talked about this on an episode of Astral Stew, because I remember you all making the joke reference that this was the missing airbender, the whole.
Oh, we did, didn't we?
And then I asked what was the difference like between that avatar and the blue avatar, and then we went down that rabbit hole. But yes, we talked about this before, not from the book.
Like we didn't not cover from it on the podcast, book,
but we did talk about it before on Astral Stew
because it got brought up, and I forgot all about that. You're absolutely right. How weird! I mean, this book has a bazillion definitions, and we pull one that we've discussed before. I love that.
Yep.
And not a normal one like kinetic energy.
So now you can write in next to the book also see Psychic Sleep.
Yeah, see Psychic Sleep. And also, I think I posted it on FearScape. I try to do it all the time, but yeah, you guys, if you haven't taken one of Santosh's Psychic Sleep courses, you should totally do it. Usually does it every Sunday. I think it's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I think it's 9 p.m.
9. I don't know. I'm in Arizona, so I don't know what times are.
But anyways,
but we usually post those links or check out Santosh David 333 on Facebook or Instagram. He usually posts that stuff on there, but it's pretty cool. But anyways, let's go ahead and move on from that, Josh. That was pretty cool because somebody is begging to be heard. I have arrived. Cryptid of the Week.
Hey y'all, it's the Jersey Devil. Hope y'all are ready to meet some of my friends.
Cryptid of the Week.
All right, we are back. We're going to be doing Cryptid of the Week. The Jersey Devil has come back from New Jersey.
I did, and it was really cool. I got to see my papa and my Mimo and my grandma and my uncle and my auntie and my sister, and I saw the New York Devil and I saw the Arizona Devils, and I seen The Devil Made Me Do It, that movie, the new Conjuring one, and it was not me.
So there's a New York Devil. That's what I got.
Yeah. He has golden hair that combs over the top of his head.
Okay.
I'm just making political humor. It's topical. I'm so excited, y'all, because I told Stephanie he has to cover this one, because when I got back to Arizona to stay with Stephanie again, because I'm still just temporarily living at his house for like a year, and when I got off the plane, I didn't see Stefan anywhere, but I saw something I didn't even know about. A cactus cat. And I will hand the reins to Stefan.
Thank you. Thank you, JD. But yes, he's absolutely right. We are talking about an Arizona Southwest local native here that I had no idea existed until JD told me about it.
I told you, they're super cool.
But yeah, this is the Cactus Cat is our cryptid for the week here. The Cactus Cat is a mythical creature and fearsome critter that has been reported in the American Southwest. It's described as a bobcat-like animal with thorn-like fur, sharp bones protruding from its front legs, and a branched tail. The Cactus Cat has been sighted in the southwestern desert, in states such as California, Nevada, New Mexico, and Arizona, with even a few sightings in Colorado. So the history here is that cowboys and pioneers of the 19th century used to tell tales of these strange beasts coming out at night, slashing open cactuses, exposing their sap. On later nights, the creature was said to drink the fermented juice, and this would cause the cats to enter an intoxicated state.
I'll tell you what, I had some of that cactus juice with them. We got lit. I was raving. We were listening to 9 Inch Nails.
Why were you listening to 9 Inch Nails?
Because that's how long the claws were.
Okay.
Okay then. Yep.
But yeah, so they would get drunk essentially and then stumble around and attack travelers. Attacks by these creatures, though considered rare, did happen from time to time, with many frontiersmen waking up to find welts in their bodies from the cat's barbed tail. Despite these attacks, the Cactus Cat was not considered an aggressive creature, except, of course, towards a cactus.
Yeah, right.
And maybe Snoopy's brother, who's always hanging out by one. But the critter was also known to have a unique and haunting wail that could be heard at night through the darkened desert, along with the dry sound of its bones rubbing together. So when we go camping out here, Josh, we need to listen for a Cactus Cat. Some say that the Cactus Cat is a descendant of the Wampus cat or the ball-tailed cat. The scientific name of the Wampus is the Wampus babibulus, I guess. But some say, so of course the skeptics say that this is probably the story here of the, the Cactus Cat is fueled by numerous cases of a misidentification, most likely being a bobcat, a mountain lion, or a porcupine. The cat's wail may have been that of a puma. It is also likely that the affable Cactus Cat was never believed to exist, and like most cryptids, was a product of a few bored woodsmen on a warm desert night.
Yeah.
I don't know. The drawing here of the Cactus Cat, it's kind of creepy. Like their tail looks like a branch that got all the leaves ripped off, and some of the branches broken on the side, and then spiky head. And so it's almost like
kind of reminds me of a Stegosaurus cat.
Yeah, so it's almost like a cat, a cat, a rabbit, and a porcupine had a baby.
Hey, I wouldn't say that to him. He gets super offensive.
You mean defensive?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, just whatever.
So yeah, that's our cryptid of the week, Cactus Cat. That was the first I'd heard of that. But of course, when I go to work, I'm going to be asking some folks if they've ever heard of the Cactus Cat, because I would be very interested.
If you ever, those listening, if you ever get a job where you have to stand on the corner and twirl a sign, don't dress as a cactus.
No, he'll get you. And here on cryptids.fandom.com, if you go to the Cactus Cat one, there's a number of really cool drawings of what people think that it looks like. There's some really neat ones, I gotta say. I'm like, where's this Pokemon? I'm totally in. Like, it's like Cactar and a cat had a baby. But anyways, Josh, that's our our cryptid of the week. We are so happy to have you back, JD.
Thank you so much. I will be under your feet snoozing.
Thank you. But before we go to the next topic, I did want to say, because JD forgot about it, we officially have our Jersey Devil merchandise in the merch store. If you recall, a few weeks back, we said that JD was doing a photo shoot with Santosh. Yeah. And we've got that. Santosh has drawn up exactly what JD looks like.
I mean, it's
identical to what he looks like. We've got 4 different versions. Some are just him playing, some him saying, hey, y'all, some say the Jersey Devil, but lots of stuff. You get some socks, a t-shirt, whatever. All of that stuff can be found at fearscapepodcast.com/store, as well as all the other stuff in our merch store. Not just for us, but all the other podcasts at FearScape Media Network. But yeah, we really want to push the JD Jersey Devil stuff because it's fantastic. And Santosh did such an amazing freaking job. And you guys have to get a shirt of this because it is ridiculous.
I think I look beautiful.
I think you look beautiful too.
Yep.
But yeah, so all right, let's go ahead and move on and get to our final segment here before we talk to the boys at Wild and Weird West Virginia. And that is our UAP UFO sighting of the week. All right, UAP UFO sighting of the week. Josh, what do we got? Where's it from?
Yep. So since we had the folks on from West Virginia tonight, I pulled one from West Virginia. So this happened in Beckley, West Virginia. It actually occurred on June 19th. And it says here it took about 2 minutes is the total time. So here we go. On the night of 19 June 2021, around 11:30 local time p.m., myself and my son were watching aircraft pass over the BKW airport navigational beacon and corresponding them to the ADS-B data from FlightAware. As we were observing United Airlines Flight 1520 past Beckley from the southwest to northeast, a single white light with no other lights visible traversed on the inverse path from the northeast to the southwest, headed directly towards Flight 1520. It appeared to be a higher altitude than Flight 1520. Upon reaching Flight 1520, as we observed from directly underneath the two, the light made an immediate and abrupt turn north-northwest. It was so abrupt and perfectly sharp, a near 90-degree turn. Both my son and I decided that no craft short of a military flight could make this sort of maneuver. Confirming MLAT data, the ADS-B exchange, we have confirmed there are no known military flights in the region that would be apparent to us.
I mean, are there even military craft that can do that? I mean, besides Tom Cruise on Top Gun?
Well, even then there's a little bit of push out that happens. It's not just like a right angle turn, which is what this is describing.
Yeah.
Now, if you listen to Stephen Greer, right, then you would say, well, the military has craft that they've built based on UFO craft that can do this. And so, there is a possibility that the UFO craft was a military craft.
Sure, but I mean, the point is that it's unidentified to us. That's what we mean by that. So I'm sure when this person speaks of that as well, they mean known military craft. But I do find it interesting that he said that there is something that can. I'm like, well, what though?
Well, I think they said, though, well, let me go back and look at it. He said, only thing that could make this sort of maneuver would be a military craft. But I mean, even so, our understanding of physics is that objects in motion must stay in motion unless affected by another object, right? So if you are traveling along in a straight line, even if you want to make a turn, you're still going to continue to travel straight for a period of time before making that turn. If you were to come to a stop before making the turn, you would still travel for a period of time once you started to make that stop, and then change direction and then proceed forward. Yeah. So, I mean, it's what is described here. And I think what a lot of people talk about, and what I witnessed in the Arizona desert when I was out several weeks ago, is there is no delay. It's just, it was proceeding in one direction, and then all of a sudden it changed and proceeded in a completely different direction. So, yeah.
I don't know. Interesting as always. I mean, just stuff we've seen, what other folks have seen, and everything we talked about with Mark D'Antonio last week, man. I got to tell you, when I go out at night now with my night vision, I still look at the stuff that's flying around at a real high altitude, but I know that stuff's probably satellites. I mean, the chances of that making an abrupt sudden move is probably slim. But what I do now is I find aircraft, because there does seem to be a lot of the UFO craft that seem to be interested in our aircraft. And so I watch aircraft closely to see if there's things that kind of pop up that, shouldn't be there. So, right. Well, cool. Thank you, Josh, for that. But let's go ahead and move right along, man. And we'll be back in a few seconds. We're going to be talking with the boys from Wild and Weird West Virginia, and the Wild and Weird West Virginia Con that's coming up. So be on the lookout.
Hey there, blanket huggers. Stefan here from FearScape Paranormal Podcast. Got some good news for you. If you want to join in on the investigation of the mystery of the recent emails from the man claiming to be Terry Wrist to Josh and myself, aka the Spooky Crew, and his advice on where to look for more high strangeness, or if you simply want to become a patron blanket hugger for some cool swag and behind the scenes goodness, go ahead and join our Patreon at fearscapepodcast.com/support or patreon.com/fearscapepod. There you can get Riskwatch access to the Terry emails themselves, the WhatsApp conversation about it all with Josh, Stefan, Santosh, and Olaf Phillips, and even any clues that are new that we have found in other Fearscape-related bonus content. You can even help out and add anything that you have found to help us dive deeper into the mystery. And remember, you can also just be a normal blanket hugger, as there are a few non-wristwatch tiers for patrons not interested in Terry Wrist and that journey. You'll still have access to bonus interviews, articles, and live Patreon-only Q&As, as well as early access and discounted tickets to events put on by Fearscape, such as psychic events, tarot readings, etc. Or you can simply support however you feel comfortable, with tiers as low as $1. So join today.
Thank you guys so much for sticking around. Like we said, we have the Wild and Weird West Virginia bunch. We've got Wayne Barnes, Joe Perdue, and Ron Lanham here. Thank you guys so much for coming on our show and gracing us with your presences. Thank you.
Hey, I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm not giving you any presences.
Aw, man, not even for Christ Mass?
Maybe.
As you guys know, we talk about these guys all the time. We love Wild and Weird West Virginia. We just love West Virginia, and then we found something even more to love, which is you guys. Absolutely. So yeah, absolutely. We don't even look at you guys as competition, but as something to strive towards.
Oh wait!
Wait, Wayne's on here. That was meant for Joe and Ron. Wayne is like when you get to the end of the tunnel, but you run out of food, and he's the only person there offering food, and you're like, "Shit, I'll eat it.
I'll take it."
No, I'm like a really great movie that ends badly, and you just go, "What the hell was that?" Like Game of Thrones, you went, "What is that?" Yeah, that's
fantastic.
So thanks guys for coming on. We had a blast being on your all show last whatever it was, and just wanted continue the conversation. And my brain has been brewing since then, so I got all kinds of weird stuff that we're going to talk to you about. Stuff that's like, shut up, dude, save it for the show. So, but before we jump into the conversation and start getting really wild and weird, so what I did there, wanted to ask you guys, kind of what you all asked us, right? So, how did pick somebody, Joe? How did you all get started? How did you get started doing wild and weird, and then what led you to the podcast?
Well, Ron and I worked together a long time ago in a pet shop that was weird, and
so halfway there, right? You got weird,
right? So Ron
was a little wild too, right?
Involved in this stuff for a long time, and I had my own personal encounters before I ever met Ron, and we would talk about that stuff off and on there at the shop. Well, we started a reptile breeding business, and that was about 12 years ago, and we were seeing, similar to how the reptile business got its name and got its start. We've seen a lot of stuff that we're just like, wow, we can do this, and we can actually remove a lot of the bias out, and we can do real honest research, and we can make non-pop culture influenced art based off of actual descriptions, and we can actually do this. And so we started Wild and Weird West Virginia kind of that way, and we were adopted by the folks there at the Mothman Museum, and they brought us in to do the festival, and then they started moving our stuff that we make in their gift shops and whatnot, and that really just catapulted us into the next phase, which was actual research. And what's funny is we had talked about starting a podcast years ago.
Didn't everybody?
Right. And we had all the equipment. Like, we had already had it. It was sitting there collecting dust. And we went to a show called Creature Weekend. And there was this guy there that just would not quit trying to sell me this stupid concrete Bigfoot.
Yeah, that guy was annoying.
Like really big, like a yard ornament type thing.
Guys, he's like, right here with us. That was Wayne.
It's like, yeah,
talking about me like I'm not here. Thanks.
From the minute we walked in and sat down and we're getting all the stuff together and trying to set the table up, Wayne just started harassing us from the minute we got there. And then all of a sudden it turned into Wayne and Ron both harassing me. And I was like, well, yeah, here we are.
I knew he was cool when he was like, making those little jabs at you. I'm like, well, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
Right. Something's got to be right about him.
So after that weekend, things really started, we kind of adopted Wayne into the Wild and Weird family at that point. We went and had some drinks, and we were sharing our stories back and forth, and everything just really clicked. And like, when I say brought him into the Wild and Weird family, I mean, like, me and Ron actually considered this dude family, and we're like, this guy's great. And then, the coronavirus outbreak happened, and we were all kind of just not doing anything. Shows were shut down. Yeah. There was no conventions going on. We were in lockdown mode, and we were like, let's go ahead and get this podcast thing started. And I was talking to Ron about it, and I said, why don't we bring in a third voice, just so that way people don't get tired of listening to me and you, because we can get into some really deep, weird tangents sometime. Mm-hmm. And we need to bring somebody in that's going to be asking questions that the rest of the world will ask, but it's also going to have a good knowledge base. So we were thinking, well, who's that going to be? And we looked and looked and looked, and we couldn't find anybody. So then we asked Wayne.
Sounds about right.
So not a voice of sanity then. That's not what you're looking for.
No. So we brought Wayne in.
Voice of vanity.
He was our...
Who's the biggest smart ass we know?
He was the only choice for the third host, and we brought him in, and it just started. And then after that, the rest is history, and here we are.
And it's a great dynamic. I love that 3 dynamic. We have our YouTube show Astral Stew that we do with our friend Santosh, and it gives a different dynamic, of course, than when it's just Josh and I. So I love your guys' dynamic. It's absolutely phenomenal and fun.
When I'm most interested from that whole long thing there is that how do you breed reptile? Like, do you put on Barry White? little glasses of wine.
I'm going to try that the next time with Sandbox.
We're like, all right, I got this Komodo dragon and I got a Burmese python. Let's see what happens. Get the Barry White.
Hello, natives.
That's kind of how we do it, in a roundabout sort of way, without giving too many trade secrets out.
Yeah, no, my uncle is a reptile breeder, legit. He's done it for a long, long time, snakes specifically. So,
is that Bill?
Yeah, my uncle Bill.
Yeah,
Bill who?
Bill Barr.
Bill Barr, really? That's your uncle?
Bill Barr, and he's a raging alcoholic, and we always thought that was funny that his last name was Barr.
He didn't have a chance.
He's my dad's half brother, so my dad doesn't have that same last name, so that came from his dad. But we always laughed at that.
Barr's been in this game, in the reptile game for ever.
Long time, man. He used to live down near Somerset for a long time. That's when he was really, really doing it. Now he's up in Michigan and he's doing a lot up there, and different stuff like that. But
I always thought it was funny because when I would go to your house, you'd have like a box of rats that he would be breeding. And I'm like, oh, what do you breeding rats?
We had rats, gerbils, and hamsters because we had a snake named Carcass. Before we started, we had a Burmese python. He was 11 feet, but we had him from when he was a little baby. And so we bred all these animals. I always had to keep 1 or 2 for pets for me, but then we had to feed the rest. So, yeah, I love snakes, man. They're cool.
That's how I first got into it, was working with snakes. And then Ron convinced me that there was a better way. And I moved off all my ball pythons and most of the boa stuff that I was dealing with, and we went with Crested Geckos and Cryptids. A bunch of other New Caledonian. Well, oddly enough, Crested Geckos. Ron, tell them that story.
They really are cryptid. They were thought to be extinct. Yes. They were actually thought to be extinct for years, decades. And now they're like the most popular small lizard in the hobby.
Wow!
So, yeah, they're pretty much a legend.
So we actually breed cryptids here in the basement.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Again, I'm not surprised.
I mean, I feel like when you were talking about having a weird pet shop, you were like selling jackalopes and just.
If you'd have seen some of the stuff the owner bought,
yeah.
There was a monkey named Jack, and I'll let you figure out how it got its name.
Yeah. Because his mother named him that.
Yeah.
Hey,
obviously.
Guys, let's kick back to this story about how we met. First of all.
Everybody buckle up.
No. Just a couple quick things. First of all, Joe did leave with that Bigfoot.
It's sitting in my flower garden.
I did too, Wayne. You sold me one too.
And Ron too.
He got us both.
Did you get that at that cement shop over in Clarksville? There, Wayne?
I did. I know the lady that runs it.
I lived right down the street from there. I love that place.
So, the other thing is this. He didn't tell you that I was trying to sell his and Ron's stuff more than I was my own.
He did.
He did. And then we tried to sell his stuff as well.
And it just didn't happen.
There was this one blind dude that did walk around, and we told him that it was just an absolutely beautiful work of art. And he actually bought one of those.
Yeah. He said, I'm not feeling it.
But we did. We literally hit it off that day. And it was just like, we knew, at the end of that show, at 5:00 that evening, we knew that Wayne Barnes was somebody we were going to do something with in the future. We just didn't know what that something would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a fun weekend. That was a very fun weekend.
It really was. I mean, you sit there at the bar that evening and told us your account. You had never done that. And, that was just crazy. I'm like, and I'm sitting here like every word, I'm hanging on to every single word. I'm like, wow, because this is stuff that you do not talk about, and here you are, total strangers, and it just came natural.
I think it's easy though for a lot of people though to talking about that kind of stuff, because we get folks that come on our show, right, and they will lay things out that they have never shared with anybody. And I think sometimes it's easier for people to tell things to strangers than it is to tell them to their own family and friends, right? So yeah, I think you may be right about that. Or there's that common bond. We always we called it last time, right? The weird factor, the weird magnet.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like stumbling upon Joe back in the day. I don't even remember how we got to that, Josh. Do you remember how we got the original story?
So I think that
somebody
was a friend of a friend.
I think. Yeah.
Oh, it was Ray. It was my friend Ray.
And then we had those mutual friends, Nicole and Dominique.
Mm-hmm. Yep. From West Virginia there. And it was just like, and we were really trying to get the other guy in the show, but it turned out to be the whole show with Joe, which was freaking great because we spent like an hour and a half waiting for this guy. So we got to look at all of like the stuff you were making and look at that. So like, there's all this stuff people don't even know that happened like before even. I just had a good time, and that led to all this. And man, I love the hell out of you guys. It's always a pleasure.
Yep.
Yeah, we like you okay too.
Weird finds weird.
When I occasionally post some things up on various groups, and Ron jumps in and tells me how I'm wrong about everything that I'm looking at. So
I do that.
Thank God, because he listens to you. He don't listen to me. Yeah. He says, I have a photographic memory. I remember seeing it somewhere. And I'm like, cool. Yeah, the internet always tells the truth, Josh.
Wait, it doesn't?
Yeah. No, it does, Wayne. Yeah.
Okay.
Believe
me there for a minute.
Believe everything you read. So kind of jumping into a little bit of the weird today. We left off last time talking with you guys. Like I said, my brain was rambling, but Stefan and I had already kind of agreed ahead of time. We were going to start off with the one, kind of topic to kick us off. And so wanted to know your all's thoughts on
you can make soap out of humans.
I knew it.
And
it is ethical. It is ethical.
And it's a good thing about all that Castile soap. So but no, what do y'all feel about ultra terrestrials as described by John Keel?
Oh, go for it, Joe. You know you want
to. I love Ultraman.
All right.
I love Ultraman too.
So here's the thing. First, I'm not the biggest fan of Keel, and neither is Ron or Wayne. We
okay.
Keel was really bad about
not more of a fan than you.
He said, he would just put things into books and hope for the best. There's a whole lot of that. Like if you get to people that actually knew him and talked to some people who were interviewed by him, he also led the witness a whole lot. Now, his theories combined with some of Jacques Vallée and a few of the other people with the extra-dimensional, ultra-terrestrial hypothesis, they divided the camp, right?
Yep.
Just like with everything else, you've got your extraterrestrial camp, and then you've got your ultra-terrestrial camp.
Right.
Or an ultra-terrestrial kind of umbrella covers the extra-dimensional. So
yeah.
At the end of the day, what difference does it make? Like, really?
Right.
These things they're not from this Earth. That implies that there might be more Earths, like say extra dimensions, or something to that nature. They're still not from here. So what difference does it make where the ship is coming from or where the creature is coming from? They're not from here. Mm-hmm. So why cause the schism?
Well, wait a minute, because if they're coming from like the planet of I love you and I love humans, they're great, wonderful, we just want to be friends, versus I'm coming from the planet of I'm going to destroy you and eat your ass. I mean, I think it doesn't matter.
The second part could also be from the planet of I love you as well.
Yeah,
it could be.
Would they eat your ass though after they destroy you or before? I don't understand.
Well, you could be getting destroyed. I mean,
why? Yeah.
Thanks, Wayne.
Okay, bad analogy.
But Well, it's interesting because one of the things that Stefan and I kind of went down was are ultra-terrestrials more of a descriptor of another species living on the Earth, like alongside of humans? Or do you think Keel, and again, I know that Keel's not the favorite here, but do you think he really meant interdimensional when he was talking about ultra-terrestrials?
He had mentioned that theory. He's one of the ones that kind of originated with, is that they're crossing dimensions, or that they could have already they could have basically predated us.
Yeah.
Now, suppose that these ultra terrestrials were here before us, and then we're the extraterrestrial.
Right.
Ancient astronaut theorists say yes.
A lot.
Thank you.
I'll say dinosaurs should be called megaterrestrials.
They should. They will be.
So what makes necessary? Ultra implies like greater than or better than, right? So what then would make a species that lives here covertly? Why would they live here covertly if they were better than what we were? Like, there's a reason they went underground. If that's the case, I mean, humans could just be the intergalactic equivalent of cockroaches,
right?
Where we just land somewhere and take over, and drive the rest of everybody mad, so they go over underground. But I don't know. Like,
maybe they're just here to eat our ass. I don't know. That's all I got.
Well, like the guy in the guy in the Matrix. Maybe humanity is a virus. So.
Yeah, the architect. I actually just watched a video about that earlier today, oddly enough. Synchronicity. So, Ron, I want to hear what you've got to say.
What about Keel?
Yeah, about the ultra-terrestrial in general.
Oh, well, about ultra. Well, I think that the use of the word ultra-terrestrial implies that, like you said, it's beyond. So in his definition, he really tried to say that these things were a part of a supernatural hierarchy.
Yeah.
And so that's where the ultra comes from.
Right.
It was more of a definition of terminology than an actual, I think, definition of a species or a what have you, Can they be the same thing as extraterrestrial, ultradimensional, extra-dimensional? It's all the same thing. If you ask me, it's all the same thing. It's just a way that we humans are going around and we're kind of we're interpreting this stuff.
We love labels.
Labels.
We love labels.
Say the same thing.
Love labels.
Yeah, we do. We love labels, and that's actually there's a work that I'm working on right now. That's what it's titled. It's titled Labels. You'll love it. Trust me.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's about the whole premise. We have to label every single thing. And like Joe said, what does it matter?
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, if you really break down, right, though, like you said, the thought that ultra meaning better, if any being has the ability to travel across the galaxy, the solar system, interdimensionally, whatever the case may be, they're far more advanced than we are. So in all actuality, to your point, they're all better. Therefore, they're all ultra terrestrial.
It would be by that definition, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you always get into, is that being an umbrella term for a lot of things. Because a lot of people,
it's really a catch-all, and it's what it's ultimately done is it's divided researchers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
people have been throwing cryptids under ultra terrestrials now, big time.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead, Joe.
It's one of those things that it almost feels like, and this is just me being, hanging around Ron too long, is what this is. What I'm about to say is this does, like, the way the terminology has been broken down and the way that there's so many labels put on there, it's almost like there was some kind of like push for a division, some kind of disinformation that was purposefully put there to cause division, so that way people wouldn't work together based off literally a concept.
Yeah. Well, it was funny that you just said that, because I was getting ready to say when I stepped back and said, "Go ahead, Joe," is that the problem is that everybody is researching separate topics individually instead of looking at it holistically. And you're right; it does seem to be like every time there's a spike in let's look at everything together, something will come around that separates or divides people again to look at it individually again. So it's, it's hard not to be a little conspiracy theory on that topic.
It really is. And
we talked about that once already.
We have our show. Yeah.
And basically it boils down to everybody wants to be right.
Yeah. And that was one of the reasons actually why later, after Wild and Weird West Virginia was started, and after Wild and Weird Radio was really kicking into gear, why we started the West Virginia High Strangeness Collective is to be a centralized data collection point for various people with their own specific skill set to be able to work on whatever given topic they're interested in and collect the data, pull it together. Because you might have some kind of weird sighting that involves a UFO and a possible, what people view and would describe as a Sasquatch sighting that are combined.
Right.
And the Bigfoot researcher, they can do their part on the thing that was walking on the ground. The UFO researcher can do their part on the UFO, and then they can put those together and actually come up with a solid explanation that would suffice for data collection anyway, as to what actually occurred. Was there actually some kind of connection between these two events, or were they completely isolated from one another, but just so happened to take place in the same place?
Right.
So let me ask this of the collective. So you've got your Bigfoot person, right, that looks at it. You've got your UFO person that looks at it. Does anybody look at all the data, though, not from a Bigfoot perspective or a UFO perspective, but more just how is this all connected?
Yes.
Okay, because, I found that if I look at Bigfoot sightings through a UFO lens, I see things differently. And if I look at UFO sightings through a Bigfoot lens, I see things differently.
Yeah. Okay. And that is why we, Ron and I are and a friend of ours, Dave, and Wayne has been helping out with workshops and stuff. We're eventually going to make Wayne move to West Virginia, and then he'll be stuck with us. But,
hey, I'm making Josh move to Arizona, so
we'll have an East Coast branch and a West Coast branch.
Right. Well, I can't move there because I say the word color correctly.
Yeah. Okay. He always gets us on that one. Appalachia, we've got our own dialect.
Yep.
So, but yeah, we all actually, most of the people who are in the collective, we look at it from this whole perspective. We look at the whole pie. We don't just, dive in from one perspective. Now, me, for example, I have a background in the forest and I'm a master naturalist. So things that walk on the ground make way more sense to me, and I can track those things.
Mm-hmm.
If you put me on a site where a location is, I can pretty well tell you where whatever critter was there moved around, what direction it went, and I can walk its path for a good bit till I lose its trail. Now, Ron, where he comes in handy is he's got 30 years of UFO experience. He's got years of paranormal research experience. And so he can look at those things, but he also comes out with me on the Bigfoot stuff. Right. And Wayne's come out. We actually went out in an area that had a sighting, the literal, it wasn't a full sighting, it was a Class B activity the very next day that me and Wayne and my wife were out there in the woods.
Wow.
So it's one of those things where we all look at it through the lens of everything, but we've got our own specific skill set.
Exactly. If we limit ourselves, we're not gonna find anything.
Yeah.
And the collectives, the whole dream of the collective, it's probably a pipe dream, but the reality is we just want people to work together.
Yeah.
That's the goal, is to get the researchers to share data and not be like, oh, this is my story.
Yep.
It's everyone's story. This affects everyone. You literally could have a piece of a puzzle that could solve a millennia old puzzles.
Right.
We don't know this,
This is where I've always agreed with that too. I've been doing improv comedy for 25 years in theater, and but improv specifically, you don't do by yourself. It is not stand-up. It is always meant for two or more, and it makes a huge difference. And in fact, I teach a lot of corporate team building as well, using the the collaboration that improv teaches you. And Josh and I have taken a lot of that into our business, into our research, into the folks that we meet, and continued to grow basically a community / collective in that as well. And it is the cool thing about improv, this community, they share everything with everybody. There is no such thing as stealing like an improv game or a trick or anything like that, because everyone just shares. It was legit a community. And I've been seeing a lot more lately of folks like us rebuilding a paranormal community that is more of an actual community, and coming from different aspects. Just like I said, improv, you could have a stand-up background, theater background, none of that background, like you have, but it all works together. So, and I'm always glad to keep meeting folks like you guys, because the more and more we've been interviewing folks, the more and more we're starting to see that old guard, that old way is kind of finally starting to fall away.
Yes, guys, I will send you an autograph. Just stop it.
Thank you.
Yes,
that's all I wanted.
Can you send me a big foot yard ornament and then sign the cheek? Can you sign the cheek?
Don't pause after big. Okay.
It's funny. I was making a joke one night to Stefan and our friend Santosh.
Already a problem.
And I was looking at Amazon for a Bigfoot costume, and I actually found a costume that is a giant foot.
It's just a foot.
Just a foot. A foot is a costume.
I thought you were getting ready to go down the Jim Mosley and freaking Trey Barker route. Let's make some hoaxes just to piss some people off and make our research look bad.
Yeah,
but it's fun.
Yeah, really. So I think we've beat the ultra-terrestrial topic to death, or to life, whichever. Stefan, what was the
out of it?
Yeah. Oh,
we squatched it.
I know what I was going to ask next. So we did an episode on Astral Stew, our show with our friend Santosh, talking about cryptid reproduction. And in that episode, we kind of thought about, how that all happens. I don't want to get into that here. What I do want to know though, from Joe, if you're a master tracker, I assume, you can follow scat and tracks and all that kind of stuff. Do Bigfoots poop in the woods?
I mean, I'm assuming yes. Just because that's the time. There has been Ken Walker has like too much Bigfoot poop in his freezer. He has a whole upright freezer in the top compartment.
Yeah, I imagine he puts it all together and like Jurassic Park just sticks his hand in there.
Yeah.
No, it's more like Close Encounters. This means something.
I had to. Well, we were talking about, what would Bigfoot poop look like? I would imagine you would. It'd be a rope.
Because I said, dear God, I hope it's not like a deer and there's just like golf ball sized pellets falling out of his ass.
Machine gun crap.
Yep.
So we assume that it's going to be a rope, right? Like that's what everybody's found that they allege is Bigfoot poop. And it's just because it's like, y'all have seen a pop can, right? Well, imagine like a 2-liter bottle of poop. Wad, like just a monster. That's what mostly like the size of what Ken has found. There's been some other guys up in British Columbia that's found defecation, and it's oh gosh, there's a guy that's actually getting ready to the guy who created Monster Quest, Doug Hotchick. He is actually in the process of finding somebody to do an actual open source lab analysis, where it's going to be a public analysis. It's not going to be done in a private lab. And he's doing hair, scat, the dermal capturings off windows, all that kind of stuff, like the like grease off their skin and hands. Yep. And that's all going to be in Legend Meets Science 2, I would imagine, because that's a new production he's working on. Mm-hmm. So if we're talking about something that's a relic hominid, right? That's what the general train of thought revolving around Sasquatch is that it's a relic hominid. Hominids, the way our digestive tract is made, we've got the one sphincter at the very bottom and one sphincter just up above it. That is why our poop comes out like a rope. And so if you see rope-like poop, normally it's either going to be human poop, just because of the way it's shaped. It's going to be human in nature. We'll put it that way. Just like, dog poop doesn't look like human poop. It's got those pointy ends on each side of the turd. It's because they have an extra sphincter in their pooping chamber. So it gives it an extra little pinch. So you got that it starts off in a sharp point, ends on a sharp point, and ours break off more in logs. That's why, the old adage, I'm going to go drop a log.
Yeah. And I did. We were looking into it while we were talking to, because first people's thought is anything big out there is bear shit. And it's like, no, bear shit's not what you think either.
Yeah. Bear poop's like, when it's not laden with berries, like say right now, if you go look and find bear poop, it's going to look like a cow pie full of berries.
Yeah.
But if you find it during the earlier part of the year when they're eating more roughage and carrion, or they're predating on other animals, you're going to get this rectangle. Wow, I went straight up hillbilly there. Rectangle.
Hey, that's all right. It catches us sometimes too.
We're going to get this rectangle shaped poop, and it's kind of flat on the top and bottom, and it's rectangle shaped.
So theirs is more like one of those Play-Doh squeeze devices that you're trying to make the pillars.
But it comes out almost in like equal sized sections. So like when you find it in the woods, there's equal sized rectangles that are all, and it's really easy to ID.
So I could use some bear poop and make a little pyramid in the woods.
You could. You could also
why do I just feel like Wayne is like, I can't wait to get my ruler out later tonight and just figure this shit out, pun intended.
What makes you think that I haven't already?
Round 2. Round 2 of a 2.
Round deuce.
Round deuce.
It would be a round deuce.
Yeah.
Which is how cigar-shaped UFOs came into existence.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's just a big god shitting in space.
Just flying around. It's caught up in our gravity and just circles the globe.
That's what a muamua is.
Total poop.
Yeah. So we are the toilet. Just
yes.
I mean, we do have a lot of water. So I'm just gonna say,
your point is valid. Yeah. We have a lot of water.
My brother has moved around a lot. He's lived around the world and things like that. And he always has joked, him and his best friend always used to, we're originally from Toledo, Ohio. And he always, this town's a toilet. They always used to call it a toilet, which it is. And, but he started from the time he moved out to New Mexico in college. He took a picture of the toilet that he had in the first toilet he had in the town that he moved to, and he has this whole big thing of every toilet. He's got one from Italy, from all over the place, like this toilet. And it just says same toilet, different town. He's got like 50 different toilets. Like he's been doing it for years, and every so often that picture frame gets bigger. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. He needs to get a new hobby.
Oh, yeah. I've been telling him that for a long time. Being a parent ain't enough.
Just move on to bathtubs,
Yeah. Please wash your hands. Can you
Look, honey, they got a sink in the toilet. That's a bidet. So anyways.
That's a bidet.
I thought it was a water fountain.
Anyways.
That's how you got E. coli.
Yeah, really. All right.
That'll be my son's name if I ever have another son.
E. coli.
Ezekiel coli. Bond.
Your first name would just be E.
E.
Yeah. E period. Make him sound fancy.
Yeah.
He can pontificate on things.
That's like we always joke. There was a girl in one of our summer camps. Her name was LaDasha, and it was spelled LA-A. And that was on her
I'm pretty
birth
sure she
certificate.
probably went to Marshall too, because I was in class with a Ladasha.
I've seen it, I think, twice now. I've seen it once on TV, and then one of the girl that we had in there. I'm like, did it kind of become a popular thing? Like,
so her name had a hyphen in it, but they pronounced
it.
the dash.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
And my mama was gonna name me Colin.
Colon. Oh, that would have been accurate.
Oh, wow.
Colon Prostate Barnes. CPB.
So his name now is just Wayne Prostate Barnes. That's
I can't understand. I can't understand why they always abduct me and anal probe me. I just don't know.
Yeah.
You lost your prostate years ago. They're like, this guy, whoop. You don't even say anything. Don't say anything. Put him back.
Oh,
They
my
think they're
goodness.
picking up someone new every time. You know, they're like, "Oh, we'll get this dude." Oh, damn, it's him again.
Oh, it's that prostate guy.
He wasn't wearing a hat this time. We thought it was a different guy. You know?
Yeah, and saw the glare. It just threw us off.
Yeah, I look totally different without my hat.
Oh,
Well, that's how
welcome
they
back,
track.
Wayne.
Yeah, where'd you go? Some other guy was here for a little bit.
My stunt double.
We liked him better. Bring him back.
That's right.
Oh.
So now I know you guys focus a lot on West Virginia, which why not? But do you guys, because I mean, we tell everybody about you guys too, and especially we have a lot of folks Eastern Kentucky and Pennsylvania. You get around the Virginia and all this stuff. You guys get hits from other people as well, because I mean, you guys seem to me to be the place I would send people anywhere within that 5-6 state region.
Ron, you want this one?
Oh, well, we get, I mean, I've had reports from literally California, but it's not like we can go and,
Right.
investigate there. We do get a lot of local. I'm surprised we don't get more, I'll be honest with you. I think that a lot of it comes down to a lot of people, they don't want to know what it may be.
Yeah.
I think that's what you get a lot lot of it at. Now, the
that-
people who are
a lot of
legit,
property
and
owners, sometimes the
that too.
property owners can be a little sketched out by having people they don't know on coming out.
Yeah.
So they won't give
Yeah.
you an exact location. Now they'll submit the report, but
Yeah.
when it comes around to actually getting boots on the ground, they're kind of like,
Well, they don't want you to stumble on their weed farm. So
yeah, no, literally, that's
yeah, I
probably
know.
what a lot of
I
it
know.
is.
Kentucky. Trust me. I know.
I'm in Arizona now, guys. It's all fine.
Yeah.
But I think that's
yeah,
that's
out in
some,
Arizona, we just find their sand farm.
Yep. So much. Sand.
but yeah, I think that's some of our issues. I think that we have a lot of people who they want to keep it quiet too.
Yeah.
And like Joe says, they send these little. Oh well, here's what I got a picture of. They'll send pictures. I mean, it'll be a zoomed in picture of a light in the sky or, a blurry something. You can't tell anything from that.
Yeah.
And you figure out real quick what to ask and how far to ask before you just say, okay,
So
that's good.
I don't want to necessarily talk about the docu-series Hillier, but I do want to talk about a piece of it, which is what do you all think about things living in caves? Like, the things that kind of describe.
I mean, how can we not think about Kentucky?
I was recently in a cave, and I can answer that for you. Spiders.
Spiders live in caves. That's
Nope.
true.
Really big ones.
No.
Really big spiders.
Oh, I hate spiders.
No, really, really big spiders. But no, I was underground and crawling around down there, and I did find some really cool stuff. And I don't know what it was. We're still looking into some of that stuff. I do believe that there were some things underground, I should say, but I don't necessarily believe that they were cryptids. I think that there's some evidence that points to a lot of underground stuff.
Yeah.
And that's not just here, that's everywhere.
Yeah.
There was a
for
point
sure.
where
There's a lot of tales and stuff out here as well.
Yes.
But I mean, us being able to be such close. Well, when I was there, here it's all mines, but out there, it's like I've been in a million caves just living in Kentucky, and I'm always fascinated by the animals that live there, the see-through ones, and how animals evolve in these areas, like in New Mexico and White Sands there, all the animals are white. So you've got these foxes that are white, all the insects have turned white, the bird, everything is white to match the environment, and much like the cave systems as well. And we still have so much unmapped. I mean, who knows? And then Josh and I have talked about it before, how the same day that the Kelly Hopkinsville experience happened, just north of that in Evansville, Indiana, of course, was the clawed beast of the Ohio. And I was just listening to something on NPR, they were talking about it, and how the guy, the folks with the clawed beast did something that allowed them to lose the footage they were getting to the Kelly Hopkinsville. But we always talked about, it's like, they found stuff where the clawed beast was this particular mud that's only found, of course, in caves. And so we're like, well, how much stuff is traveling through these aquifers as well? I mean, we assume we always know everything about things that we don't know anything about.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Mm-hmm. But I think Wayne has a really good point of view when it comes to caves. And basically, with Bigfoot and whatnot, I could see that being, utilized. I can also see it being very ancient. Mm-hmm. I can see that, through some of the ancient legends, that these were not just caves, they were modified, and they were actually built for a purpose. And that purpose was to possibly be a refuge for some survivors, so to speak.
Oh yeah. Definitely. When we start getting into even any of the shaver stuff or any of that. Yeah.
I listened to a book on tape not too long ago that was talking about a lot of subterranean bases, and I think it was written by Gray Barker. I mean Valiant Thor, and one of the things that was talked about is that there's apparently at Malta, the island out there near Italy, is one of the biggest entry points into some of those underground caverns, and they were talking, they're telling a story that. They were starting down this tunnel in Malta, and they hear this, noise, kind of something coming from up ahead. So they douse their lights, and then all of a sudden they're attacked, and they run back up the stairs, and it's just all of that kind of stuff. And this book was chock full of just various accounts of people stumbling upon, corridors and lit corridors and things that are just kind of like appear in the strata of a cave or of a mine, and then when they think no one's looking, and then disappear, or they go back the next day and there's no evidence that it was ever there. So it's just really makes me wonder how much is just in feet, or 100 feet or 200 feet under our own feet that we just don't ever know about or see.
I mean, and I'm making a joke, but I mean this, though. Like, I think about, in The Hobbit, when Bilbo he accidentally trips and goes down and finds this huge cavern off the rest of where they were, right? And that's where he meets Gollum and stuff like that. But I mean, we know from living in cave country that shit, it can happen. I mean, you could be in this tiny space and have no idea that there's a huge cavern open on the other side of the thin wall that's next to you, because of
that's the beauty of Karst land.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's crazy, man.
The way the cave systems were formed and all that. And there's some of, like Ron had mentioned, there's some of the ones that do appear to be modified.
Yeah.
You can see evidence of possible ancient tooling.
Look at the lava tubes out west. Like, I've hiked a number of lava tubes, and they seem fake to me. Like, because it seems, you talk about feeling modified, right? It's a lava tube. Like, what was it, really lava, or was it some ancient machine creating this pocket? And they're insane. I've hiked 4 or 5 of them in New Mexico and Arizona. They're great.
Yeah, one of the big things that you can tell, especially, is with some of the strata that you find around some of these caves. Like, if, for example, soapstone. Soapstone is not something you're going to find on the surface of the ground, right?
Right.
It's going to be buried deep underneath. And if you're finding like soapstone chunks, gravel and whatnot, down in the bottom of a hill, and you're finding a cave or something up above, there's a good chance that cave at some point had been excavated out to a degree. Now, it might not have been completely, It might just been like, oh, well, this is nice. It'd be nicer if it was bigger. And they just, made it bigger. And that's where you would get some of those minerals that are being ripped out and then dispersed down below. Because gravity's great when you're up on a hillside. You just chuck whatever out behind you and it's just going to roll hundreds of yards away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless it hits somebody. But anyways, well, there's that story too of that guy in Kentucky that, fell into the cave.
Floyd Collins.
Yeah. And then, they set up an amusement park around it.
I love the late 1800s, man. They sold hot dogs and everything. And then they took his body after it died, and that was an exhibit for a long time. Seriously, Mammoth Cave area is crazy.
It is weird, and a lot of these cave systems are directly responsible for the many, many missing people that we have out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's certain areas of land, like you were saying earlier, you could be walking on top of that thin wall.
Oh,
and then all of a sudden,
and that has happened a lot of times. A lot of the caves that get discovered, that is exactly what happens. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with the missing 411 docs.
Yeah,
you guys watch those? Yeah, those are fascinating. But that's the first thing I always think of, because a lot of times these are mountainous areas and things like that. And I'm like, this dude fell in a cave. That's why you're not finding anything, and it could be so overgrown you wouldn't even see the tiny hole that he went into.
Well, and then, my grandmother grew up for a little while in Wayne County, Kentucky.
Yay!
It's named after you. And, I was trying to figure out a way to work you back into the conversation, Wayne.
I was waiting.
So, but she actually was out. Her grandfather was a minister and was renting a house on this farm. And she was out walking one day, and she said, like, a cow just disappeared, and it was because it walked and a sinkhole opened up and the cow fell 30 feet down into the sinkhole.
Oh my god!
But I mean, that kind of stuff just happens.
Cow patty.
Yeah,
really.
And see, so the Sasquatch hiding in the caves didn't even have to. That's their trap set up. They got meat for the next week.
Well, it's probably a trap, so they can catch food.
It probably was a trap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's no such thing as natural sinkholes. It's only Sasquatch traps.
It's always.
You haven't been to my area of town then. Just north of me, they're everywhere. Sinkholes. They're just
they're Sasquatch traps. You have to start using the Sasquatch term.
That's what we're saying now.
There's actually spears sticking up at the bottom with like
Sasquatch trap.
Like the old Atari game Pitfall. Like, here we go.
If there's no vine nearby, you're fucked.
Yeah. About Atari.
Pitfall Harry.
That was it.
Loved him.
Me too, man. Still one of my favorite games.
But talking about a little bit about lava tubes, Stefan. Did y'all see that article? Maybe it's about a year ago, where they found lava tubes, really big lava tubes on the moon. Did you all see that? Yes. No.
I don't remember seeing that.
Yep. So they actually did. I guess they shot some radar at the moon or whatever, and actually.
Oh, I remember we talked about that.
Humongous lava tubes on the moon, big enough to fit entire cities inside.
Cities, yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, we'll have to find that article. Yeah, we talked about that a long time ago.
It's a new name.
Everybody knows that the moon is made out of cheese. So listen, don't try to put this scientific stuff by me.
We did, my old comedy group, Wayne, we did a mockumentary called Disaster Prep. The Moon is Down. It's about these two guys that believed the moon was made out of cheese and that it was going to crash into the earth and that all the rats and mice were going to take over the earth. And so they have a bunker, the whole 9 yards. You would have been perfect in that with me. We would have had a blast, man.
I can do some improv.
Oh man, it was, the whole thing was improvised and it was fine. And we kind of, we had an idea for what scenes were going to be and stuff like that. But yeah, it was these two redneck boys from South Kentucky and just trying to create a bunker because the moon's going to be falling soon.
I've been like, get the crackers, boys.
Get the crackers. We had like guns filled with cat piss because it like warded the mice away. Like, not in real life. Okay,
I just want to know how you collected the cat piss.
Yeah, that's where I was going with.
Oh no, we in the movie there we have a dealer. His name's Hobart, and he would get us we're idiots. So like he obviously the camera comes in, he's obviously behind a dumpster pissing into a mason jar. And he's like, oh yeah, boys, I got you guys some genuine tiger piss this week. Like, and we're like, oh my God.
Everybody knows you just milk them, Joe. The guy with the really scratched up arms is the one that does it.
That's right. Joe Exotic.
One scratches all over.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, but anyways, just what kind of goes back to the whole, and I don't know if we talked about it when we were on your all show, but the idea that the moon is an artificial satellite. Is some way
by Hitler and T-Rexes with laser beams.
Yeah. I've also heard that it may have been like some sort of an ark type situation, and the stories of the ark was actually talking about the actual moon itself, and it carried life.
It was called Ark 2. It was a good sci-fi movie. So
interesting.
So yeah, apparently you all haven't heard that one yet either. So
Ark 2, the sequel.
I know. I'm watching. You're watching Joe, but I'm watching Ron the whole time. I'm like, he knows.
He knows.
I heard it. Yeah.
Yep.
There's actually a lot of lunar mythology, I guess you would call it, right? And you kind of want to laugh some of this off, but okay, let's say that there was once a space station, and a very ancient one.
Okay, there once was a space station, and it was a very ancient one.
That's good.
Now we just need to add that to music, and we've got an introduction to like the 1970s.
Okay,
more Saturday morning
Ark 2.
We'll work right up to it. But no, you look at that and you think about that, and we talked about this too, Oumuamua, the whole thing. Is it a rock? What happens to these ancient structures after billions of years? I mean, maybe they were bombarded enough with enough dirt, debris, etc. Now they look like that. Who knows? I mean, I'm not going to rule it out, but I'm not going to run out and say, yeah, the moon's. That's no moon.
So there's some really good points about it, and I know we're coming up on time, so I'll make them really quick. So, number one point is NASA hit it with a bomb and it rung for 47 minutes. Right?
That's fact. That's good.
Right?
Stuff.
That happened. Number two, a lot of geologists look at it and say the craters are too shallow. If it was being hit with those size meteorites, the craters should be a lot deeper than what they are. And so being the craters are too shallow, it's almost like it's hitting something underneath what we see that's causing them to break up and then just redistribute whatever the broken pieces up are back on the surface.
Yeah.
Okay, so I figured it out. The moon is made of vibranium.
Yes. That's why it also rung, because it was vibrating, and then pieces of that flew to Wakanda.
Bingo.
Man.
There you go.
Problem
We're done. Good night, everybody.
We just fixed it all.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever.
So, all right. Well, guys, I want to thank you all for coming on again. It has been an absolute blast. I want to give you all an opportunity. Where can people find Wild and Weird?
And your event coming up as well.
Yeah, your event. Yeah.
You can find us at our house.
We have Wild and Weird Con coming up. You guys, anybody, come around. We're having a convention at Chief Logan State Park November 6th, and it's going to be huge. It is a research-based convention. There's going to be workshops, speakers, and there's vendors going to be there selling their amazing handmade artwork. Plus, you're going to be able to get your signatures from Wayne. And
yes.
You gonna have any yard ornaments there, Wayne? Yard
Probably.
ornaments?
I can bring you one if you're coming.
She's coming. Josh is
I'm
coming.
coming.
I can't make it, but Josh will be there.
Oh, you are coming, Josh?
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
Sweet.
We're trying to grab our friend Santosh to come along as well. It just depends, but yeah, if I could be there, boy, I would.
Well, that's going to be a blast. And then we've got Wild and Weird Radio, of course, and you can find us anywhere podcasts are found. You can find us at wildandweirdwv.com. We've got all kinds of resources and various media there, as well as our shop. You can go there and take a look and find some goodies that you want and have it delivered.
Amazing, cool stuff, man. Joe, I love your stuff, man.
Yeah, I'm
cool.
I'm about to pick up like everything you have for my office that I don't have, but will have in Arizona. So.
Oh, that's okay. You don't have to buy any of my stuff. Thanks.
Well, no.
I'm going to buy the concrete yard ornament you're going to bring me.
But I didn't make that.
Oh.
Yeah, you can go to Clarksville and get that.
So yeah, everything that you find there on the shop, that's made by us, and we manufacture it all. And Ron does a bunch of paintings, and we haven't got those added to the website because we're still trying to figure out how to get shipping worked out without them getting, because we all know how careful parts are handled.
That's rough, but there's a few things that go over there that sell out really fast. Like the Hopkinsville Goblin we did, that sold out extremely fast.
I love the flatwoods.
Yep.
Which always makes me think of Les Odell. So good old Les coming at you.
Then you can catch us anywhere else on the road. Mothman Festival. We're going to be at Cryptid Con as well. We've got the Flatwood Monster Festival kind of thing. It's called Braxy Bazaar. It's on September 11th. You guys can come meet me and Ron there. Wayne will be at Mothman with us, and he'll also be at Cryptid Con with us. So,
Mothman will be very special this year. There will be something very special at Mothman this year at our booth. It is top secret.
It's Ron. It's Ron. He's the one that's special.
It's Ron.
He's just going to wear clothes.
Did you all book Mothman?
That's awesome. Awesome. You're just gonna have to show up and find out.
Okay.
Indrid Cold himself.
Indrid Cold. He's gonna be there.
Yeah, Indrid Cold.
Tanya's gonna be there, blaming everybody. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be amazing.
And we're working on getting Wayne Barnes stuff also included there from Wayne Barnes Designs. It's going to be included there in the website soon. We just got to get some kinks ironed out, and everything will work up fine there at that point. So then you'll be able to go pick up Wayne's hand-drawn, just amazingness.
Oh yeah, we are.
Oh, yeah.
Wayne knows no blowing sunshine up his ass at all, but we actually really love his art, so it is really good.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Though I do like blowing sunshine up your ass though at the same time.
And I like you doing it.
It's because he's from the planet Love.
Yeah. He's going to devastate you and eat your ass later.
I will take a shower just for you, son.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, we are looking forward. I'd love to do this again with you guys. What an absolute blast this has been, both being on your show, having you guys here, Ron, and eventually we would absolutely love to just have you on so we can pick your brain so that Wayne doesn't talk the whole time.
Wayne. If you average it out between this one and the last one, when you were on our show, it's just a small amount.
Oh, you don't have to say that about yourself. It's bigger than
like a tuna can.
All right. Well, on that, guys, thank you so much. Check out Wild and Weird, you guys. Wild and Weird was size, right? It's absolutely amazing, and check it out. And we've said we'll be at Paracon in Louisville, of course. And if you want to ask us anything about the Wild and Weird, guys, please, because I'll talk about you guys. So
wait a minute. When is Paracon?
It is the first weekend in October.
Yeah, October.
Well, I may have to swing over and see you guys.
Yeah, I would love to see you. Yeah, there's gonna be some cool stuff. So Keith Age is running that. It's also mixed with the Fright Fest. And so like the cast of Monster Squad's gonna be there and stuff. So it's a /horror/paranormal convention.
Right up your alley there, Wayne.
Yeah. So
horror.
Or what? Horror or what? But yeah, no. So that'll be a lot of fun. But anyways, thank you guys so much, and we will catch you all on the flip side, man.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Joe, Ron, And I guess Wayne, thank you guys so much. No, seriously, thank you guys so much, man. We talk about them all the time, but Wild and Weird, WV.com. Go check that out. If you're near the area, go to the con. If not, check out Wild and Weird Radio. You can also find them on Facebook. Again, we are always on there as well. And Joe said it. They have a ton of resources on their page, their webpage, and it's fantastic, man. They definitely have their shiz together a tad bit more than us when it comes to the website.
Yeah.
But man, it's great. And there's a fun picture of Wayne holding the squatch stick, which is always fun. But yeah, again, thank you guys so much. And what a great conversation, man.
Yeah, it was just a really fun show tonight. Just fantastic.
So just a reminder, while you're out there visiting them, don't forget to visit us if you haven't already. Clicked links and shares and all that stuff on our social media. Do so the same, like, share, rate, review wherever you can find our podcast, wherever you can rate and review, as well as our YouTube channel. I mean, if you're a YouTube guy and you want it there, every podcast gets uploaded to YouTube as well as our show Astral Stew with Santosh, which is a live video show, which is always lots of fun. Let's see, what else did I need to say? Oh, just a reminder to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/FearScapePod or FearScapePodcast.com/support. There you can join, become a part of the elite group of blanket huggers that have been helping us out and getting some cool behind the scenes stuff. We've got our separate one as well, separate but equal, because you can have both there, but our wristwatch talking about Terry Wrist, the man claiming to be Terry Wrist, and all the emails we got sent. Me, you, and Santosh just had literally a 2-hour conversation that we're going to be sharing soon about everything, because the last couple emails have been pretty good as well. Dude even emailed us in the middle of us talking about him, so that was pretty rad, I gotta say. But yeah, remember to get on there. Even $1 a month helps. Just get on there. We only go up to $15, so it's not that much. And there you get a free mug or socks or whatever the heck you want, I guess. I don't remember what it is, but yeah, check that out. It's fantastic. There, you can also go on our website. You can, go to our store. We already talked about that. Get my t-shirt, get his t-shirt or socks. I'm getting a pair of socks with JD on there. That's what I want. And then one of the really cool things, I'm gonna let Josh, we got an announcement. We did announce it on social media, but just in case not all of you are on social media, I wanted to share some really cool news, something that happened to us.
Yeah. So we got nominated and are in the final running for an award with the Podcast People's Choice Awards.
Yep, 16th annual. From what I've gathered, It's one of the largest podcast awards there are, which is pretty cool.
And we're in the I think best entertainment podcast category. So yeah, we're they emailed us and asked us to put together an acceptance speech. We don't know yet if we've actually won, but if we win, then they'll use that as part of the awards ceremony that airs in September
30th. Yeah, and we'll be sharing the live feed for that.
So, I mean, it's a great, fantastic honor to be nominated. Just the nomination alone means so much to me, but obviously if we win, it'll be fantastic as well.
Yeah, and getting us into the finals was really, really great. Thank you to everyone. If you happen to have been a part of that, I know they choose a number of random folks every year. So thank you guys so much.
Yep.
But I want to get moving here, Josh, and let's go ahead and quickly get into encounters from the FearScape.
Encounters from the FearScape.
So this week on Encounters from the FearScape, this story here comes from a listener named Ruth. And Ruth comes from Alabama. So we got a listener down in Alabama. And this is the story from Ruth. And it'll shake you up like they all do.
Okay. I've decided to take the plunge and share my story. I love reading and hearing everyone else's stories. And so here it goes. When I was 14, I was sitting at the dining room table with my two sisters. Both of them were older and both of them were married. They had stopped by for a visit. My mom was at the kitchen sink area. My sister was telling my oldest sister about something that happened when she was younger. She said soon after that my grandmother had died that she was sleeping in her room. She said she woke up and was having a really bad asthma attack. She couldn't yell for my mother even. She said that she was absolutely frightened. She said grandmother appeared at the foot of the bed and said, "Don't worry, your mama's coming. You're gonna be okay." And at that moment in the story, my mom dropped a plate. We all turned to her and she, no pun intended, was white as a ghost. She said that the same night she was sleeping that night, she felt someone touching her shoulder. She rolled over and it was Grandma. And Grandma said, "Hurry, go to Patty. She needs you." Needless to say, we all sat there in silence as we comprehended something that happened over 13 years ago and how the two stories were never told before that night, yet coincided with one another. I never got to know my grandmother. She died soon after I was born, but I definitely felt like she was still taking care of our family. Thanks for listening.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's cool, man. Like to see, and so like again, I'm it's almost like Phantasms of the Living, right?
Yeah,
it's Phantasms of the Dead though. But here she is going to both of them. One to say, "Hey, don't worry about it," while at the same time is in the other room saying, "Honey, go get your daughter. She's in danger."
Well, and it kind of reminds me of so I think I may have told it a long time ago. But an old boss that I had, she had just had a son and or a daughter, I can't remember which, and but it was a baby, sleeping in the crib, and her husband were like shuddered awake one night with a voice saying, "Your daughter's dying," and they jumped up and ran to the bassinet, and her daughter was choking in her sleep.
Wow.
And of course they got her up, they got her, the obstruction was cleared and she was fine, and she's healthy, lived, been 20 years ago later, whatever. But still just the fact that, she comes when they come when you really need them the most, right? So
for sure. That's why it's like anytime you think that you've had an experience with a loved one or whatever, really question why were they there? Were they there just to say hi? Was it that kind of thing? Or were they wanting you to pay attention to something?
Yeah.
That's the thing I always think about. But thank you so much for sending in that story. You can always send in your stories to fearscapepodcast@gmail.com or just hit us up on any of the groups that we're in or social media that we're on, or submit a sighting on the website. But as usual, thank you guys so much for sending those in. But Josh, let's go ahead and get out of here. What a great show today. I'm just so excited about life in general.
It was just a really uplifting doesn't, it's not like we told emotional stories, but it really raised the energy of me for sure. So
yeah, for sure. Again, make sure to hit up those guys, Wild and Weird wv.com, or just hit them up on their Facebook pages. But let's go ahead and get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening, as always, to FearScape Paranormal Podcast here on the FearScape Media Network, home to such great podcasts as Misters of the Dark, Ghosts in the Attic, Bodies in the Basement. You can check out fearscapemedia.com there. But until then, this has been Stefan. Keep your eyes to the skies, guys.
This has been Josh, and the truth is now.
And remember, folks, hold those blankets extra tight, because things tend to get spooky when you're listening to FearScape. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
We hope you have enjoyed this guidepost on the road of high strangeness with us. And we thank you, as always, for listening and joining our caravan to the weird and unknown. Please consider supporting us as we continue our journey to find the answers we all seek.
FearScapePodcast.com/support.